Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host, Holly, and we're recording this on Sunday afternoon about 2:15 after the Forest game yesterday. And this is episode number 203. And I'd say it's up there with the most difficult episodes I've found to plan, to process my thoughts and to come up with some sense of an argument or an opinion that will, or a thread that will run through. I keep, to kind of summarize it really coarsely perhaps, is it 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? And a whole array of interpretations of either one of those two viewpoints. But here to navigate me through this minefield of chaos, as ever, is Stef and Chris. Hi, guys.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all over the place, I'll be honest. Like, it's so difficult. I feel, 1 minute I feel, no, that was a point gain. That was good. And next minute I'm thinking, oh, God, this is an opportunity missed. That then I'm thinking, Forest away. Don't listen. There's no such thing as an easy away game. And then it's like, Martinelli, what were you thinking? And I'm just flip-flopping over and back between those two viewpoints. And I decided, I think the best way we could start is to dip into our Patreon members and their comments. And I couldn't even structure a podcast where I could drop in these at key moments throughout. So I thought, sod it, I'm just going to open with all of them and then we can refer back to them as and when. So the first one, in no particular order, actually prefacing all of the Patreon, a line from Arseblog's post this morning, which I thought was quite interesting. Every single thing that doesn't go perfectly racks up the fear.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. And I thought, yeah, that's right. And let's get a bit of perspective as well. And I understand it and so on. But anyway, okay. So first up, Brody. And he says there's two ways of looking at this. Point gained, tough away game, third away game in a row. Players looked tired. We had big chances, missed a penalty. No, sorry, could have had a penalty. Or 2 big points dropped, chance to go 9 clear. I think he kind of summarised his own views of it. Subsequently, he said 7 points clear mid-Jan, still rosy. But again, it still sums up the two pivoting points, I guess. Mark Rich is on our Patreon as well. Happy birthday tomorrow, Mark. 40th. Is that the right person?
I think so.
Possibly. Oh, there you go. He gets a double shout out.
Yeah.
He gets a double shout out because I didn't know what I was reading yesterday, so I had to do it again today. Okay, he posits this question, and we will come back to this maybe at the end. How can we have a squad like this and still feel something's missing? And maybe we can link that to what Man City have done this week in the transfer window, and whether there's even any need for us to have a look or dip our toes into the transfer window. We'll come to that. And his second point was, all our energy is focused on not losing a game rather than winning it. So that's quite an interesting point, because I have agreed with that 100% in the past. I'm not sure I agree with that for yesterday's game, but we'll come back. So it's a good starting point for a conversation. Emma wanted to know where Eze was. What's happened to Eze? I think someone else pointed out that since he was responsible for the Villa goal, he's barely appeared, and it'd be pretty harsh of Arteta if he punished him on the basis of that. Babak, also on our Patreon, he, in a similar vein, wants to know what's happened with Eze. Couldn't understand the Marino sub. Not necessarily against Marino. He says he loves Mikel, but it was more of Marino for Ødegaard was the odd one. Surely Marino for Gyökeres or Eze for Ødegaard might have been viable alternatives if you're going down that route. But Marino for Ødegaard, I must admit, I questioned it at the time, thinking, oh, come on, Eze's on the bench. Like, Ødegaard was poor. But anyway, okay, there's that one. I think, Richard also has a couple of comments. One about the only positive to yesterday was the fact that it was a bad result for West Ham. I think that points to his friendship group or where he lives, and he's in the midst of quite a few West Ham fans, so he sees it as an opportunity to shut them up for a little while. But he also asked or not asked the question, but he says the warning poses the warning, don't forget about Villa, and references a Leicester hangover from a few years back. So there is a flavour of the comments we've been getting on Patreon. I mean, I can't say it helps me make my mind up one way or t'other, but Steph, you were at the game and you were as down as I've heard you after a game I can remember. A game we didn't lose, we kept a clean sheet away, and we extended our lead at the top. All things you referenced in your piece after the game. How are you feeling 24 hours later? I mean, can you kind of, I don't know, summarise how you're feeling 24 hours later?
Well, the head is now starting to overtake the heart, because in the heat of the moment, having been in that incredibly frustrated away end, seeing it all unfold, it's pure emotion that you're running on. You know, you're buoyant. We'd had a brilliant day listening to some of the results coming in. Obviously, City losing in the Manchester derby, then Spurs losing to West Ham in a 3:00 kickoff. You know, those are all things that an Arsenal fan can enjoy. But there was always that reservation that, okay, well, now we've got to do our job. And we knew exactly what to expect. You know, it was Dyche ball, you know, times infinity, with, and I think you pointed this out to us, that Forest, we're welcoming back quite a lot of players that put them back on a footing like they had last season when they did quite well. So they were better equipped to try and shut us out. It's interesting, the comment on Patreon that said, you know, we were almost set up to not lose. That was Forest's MO in that game. They didn't, no shot on target. They weren't interested in trying to win the game. They were fully focused on not trying to lose it.
And I'm not blaming them for that either.
Of course, you know, the team at the top of the league are coming to you when you're sat just outside the relegation zone. You can totally understand that kind of batten down the hatches attitude. It's on, the onus should be on us to try and break that down. And that is why it was so frustrating that what we saw was the backwards and sideways, the arc of doom, the horseshoe of death was back, and just the clear lack of movement. We were sat literally middle, right behind the goal, so the pitch just kind of opened up in front of us, and it was so clear that when we had the ball, they defended completely within the width of the penalty box, very close lines between their defensive line and midfield, and we didn't move. Players just stood and just didn't move. There was no sense of trying to pull people out here and there, and it was very static. And is that static because they're tired? Is that static because that's what they're told to do? Is it static because a bit of brain freeze? Is it pressure? There's a whole host of things that I'm sure add to the mix, but it was very frustrating that it changed. And so 24 hours on, bigger picture is looming. I'm seeing lots of comments and catching up on things, whether it's match of the day or just stuff that people are posting online. You know, our nearest rivals, Villa aside, because they play at the moment, are just as frustrated, you know, because City lost. Yeah, probably more so, because as much as we felt like we missed an opportunity to take advantage of their setback, how sick will they be feeling having not been able to take advantage of us, you know, kind of stuttering just ever so slightly. Yeah, and then I read stats about taking more points than Man City over a certain amount of games, and we're in a better position than X date on from towards the end of last year. And yeah, it's fine. I think what's also driving it psychologically, we've been here before.
Yeah.
Trauma does funny things to people.
Right.
Little flutterings in the belly.
No, we as fans have been here before, but this Man City and this Arsenal haven't been here before.
No.
If you're comparing it primarily to the 22-23 season, when at Easter time we held a 5-point lead with a game in hand or something like that.
Something like that.
But that was a very different Arsenal and a very different City, more to the point. We're playing in a league at the moment whereby we don't have to win every game because our nearest rival is not winning every game yet. yet, but they are a very different City to that. Now, I know they've gone out and bought Semenyo, and Mark Gay's going to come in during the week, and he inevitably will shore up their defence a little bit. I'm not sure, looking at how porous they were against United yesterday, I'm not sure he can do it all on his own. But then there's no guarantee they won't go out and spend another 30, 40, 50 million and the same in salary on another centre-back because they've got someone out for 6 weeks. Just on the game yesterday, we had our XG was 2.07. So you talk about the static, unmoving nature of our attack. We created 4 big chances, 2.07 XG. And as I said in our WhatsApp group, had Martinelli taken that chance or Marino with his header, we'd be looking at describing it as a 1-0 win, a game that winning the game the way champions do.
And a game that we dominated as well, to be fair.
Yeah, we put 26 crosses into the box as well, by the way. So we did get wide, we did get down the sides, and we did cross the ball in. And we nearly scored from a couple of them.
Yeah. But
so we created, and I looked at the Forest lineup against Forest's last home game was Man City, or the Man City's last win in the league was Forest at the back end of December. And Forest were missing three players, the goalkeeper, right back, and Sangare in midfield for that game. And Man City benefited from 2 questionable VAR decisions to win the game 2-1, narrowly win the game 2-1. Forest, and we said it beforehand, Forest away is a tricky game. It's not a Arsenal top first place travelling to 17th place and playing a team shorn of confidence and so on. And we were that. So tactics, Arteta, or just poor finishing. And you can't blame Arteta for Martinelli's miss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different game, and that was gilt edged. And he hooked him at half time, and I'm sure he hooked him because of that miss, because that was unforgivable. You cannot miss that. You're a professional footballer. You can't miss it the way you miss it.
But you also just seeing some of the Forest play in the first half, especially towards the end of that first half. Martinelli wasn't getting close because as Forest gained a little bit of confidence as the half went on. He wasn't getting close to anyone that he was trying to press either. And normally that's a real facet of his game that's really good quality, but that wasn't there either. And maybe that missed chance was playing on his mind. I don't know. And like you say, cold light of day today, I think our frustration is probably more at the fact that we didn't take those chances. That here is a team that's playing okay, but the attack just isn't delivering. They've got that foundation. No shot on target for Forest yesterday. So it's up to the attackers to make that sort of count. And
we've got such a brilliant defence that 1 goal will win the game. And we can't even do that.
No, it's bad. Yeah,
that's also the frustration.
There's, very different to the Liverpool game where also we restricted them to 0 shots, but a very different feeling. I felt that Liverpool spent the second half, camped in our half. So I don't feel like that was as much 2 points dropped. But what we do as fans is we bring all that, not just the last game, but the last dozen games. We bring all of the narratives and the emotion into the next game. And now we're kind of loading it all onto the fact that we didn't win. Like you said, Holly, had we won, it'd be a very, very different picture.
Okay, yes, it would. I mean, you look at just referencing Man City there. Haaland's got 1 goal in 7 games, and that was a penalty. City are without a win in the league. They've actually, as a team, they've only scored 1 goal in 4 games, and they were absolutely played off the park, worryingly, by Manchester United. And I say that with the Man United game at the weekend in mind. And I hope United come to us and open up like they did against City in terms of come at us. I think that's fine. I think that suits us. Clearly, as Forest evidenced yesterday, again, we didn't need any more proof. There's a large body of evidence in support of the fact that we struggle to break down low block teams, and that's what Forest did, and we need more guile, which nicely segues me on to the team news. Now, there's a lot of revisionism going on after the result, but when that team was announced, I saw one person on, it was Lewis Ambrose on the social media. He was the only voice. He said, I don't mind it. He just said, I'm just thinking for a team with a low block, playing pacey wingers is not necessarily the best strategy, the best tactic. But nothing about Zubimendi and Rice playing together in the middle. I've seen a lot of people asking, did we need to play both of them in this game? Yeah, they've got Elliot Anderson and Sangare in midfield. That's a very strong central midfield pairing they've got. So if I'd seen the team news and it was, say, Zubimendi/Rice and then Eze and Erdegaard in front, I'd have been like, ooh, okay, are we a little bit light there? And I've been calling for those two to play like other games, safer games, maybe home games perhaps. But Chris, what did you think then? So the key things on the team news, Timber again at left back, which we had a little chat yesterday about that, so you can reference that again.
Yeah.
And Madueke starting instead of Saka on the right, and who was on the left? Martinelli starting instead of Trossard on the left. So what was your kind of sense when the team news dropped?
I was glad to see Madueke. I didn't think he would start him, but I was glad to see it because I'd said before I just wanted to see him get more game time from the start. I thought he was actually quite bright.
Yeah.
Timber, as I referenced yesterday, for those who didn't hear it, just feel like he's probably become so bedded into the automatisms and all the relationship that he's built on the right that switching him to the left now felt a little bit awkward, and he didn't quite get his body shape right a couple of times, and that was all that concerned me. I think there was the free kick he gave away, which was almost a penalty, which had me thinking
that was so close. Like, I mean, if that had been given as a penalty, I'm not sure there was kind of emphatic evidence to say it wasn't.
No, the only good thing was that he'd very clearly planted his foot in that challenge outside the box. It was very clear where he'd come. It wasn't like he'd gone flying so there was an ambiguity.
I don't know the answer to this question, but I know this might be a stupid question. I've been known. If you're standing on the edge of the area, the penalty line is not. Is it part of the box?
It's part of the box.
Part of the box, right. So if you're standing just outside and you like lean over and literally punch someone in the head and they're in the penalty area, surely that's a penalty.
Then the offence, I guess you could say, took place in the area regardless of where your feet are.
Yeah. So because Timber had his arms on, because I know if the offence continues into the penalty area, that's a penalty.
Right. But what I'm saying is he was static, right?
No,
when
but
the collision occurred.
Because the movement, the momentum was was all into the area, and his arm had followed him. His arm was definitely over the penalty line. I'm like,
I don't know why. In my head, I've got this image of like an invisible wall that rises up from the lines of the penalty box that goes all the way to space. And that's where we measure it from.
It's just an indication of the quality of the conversation that we're having.
Exactly, yeah. So, otherwise, Martinelli, for me, that it was just summed up in that miss. I just thought that, good that he was there. I like to see those late runs around the back post, but you've got to finish it. That was a real clanger.
That was down the other end to where you were, Steph, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Were you aware of what a glaring miss that was?
No, and I got in just in time yesterday to watch the start of Match of the Day, because one of the other things I said, I talking to a guy who I didn't know actually just after the game, and sort of because he was a bit ranty and a bit down, not in a particularly offensive way, but I sort of said, yeah, and they've ruined Match of the Day. I was looking forward to that. But this is the thing, got it in and watched it. I thought they're bound to have Arsenal quite high because, it's a bit of a significant thing. No. Their classic 0-0 gets pushed all the way to the back. So it's brilliant. I watched all the ones that I could enjoy and revel in and then turn it off. It's brilliant. So I haven't watched it again. But the big chances. So whether it was Martinelli, whether it was Gyökeres's one-on-one, those I've got a terrible, terrible perspective on. I
Marino's header.
That was our end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was our end.
Second half.
That certainly feels like the one. And Saka had a great header that was saved really, really well by Sells.
But someone said every Premier League goalkeeper should be saving that.
One
Sure,
for the cameras.
absolutely, but still.
No, it was a good header. Like, no blame on Saka for not being more clinical with it. He didn't. He got the direction really right, really well, but he didn't have enough of the power.
I would have
to
been
deal
surprised if it went in. Put it
Yes.
that way.
And now I'm looking at it because I did the thing. I looked at some stats online, and when I saw just the stats, and when I looked at them, I said, "Oh, that reminds me a bit of when we had that West Ham game over Christmas, where actually the stats were quite good. I think they were even better against West Ham. And that game we lost 2-0. So it was one of those games where it's kind of like, well, we got footballed a bit maybe, and could have done a bit more. But that doesn't stop us from the stands looking at certain players and thinking,
Right.
come on, let's have more.
So can we just credit Nottingham Forest? Because we created enough chances to win the game. It was going to be a difficult game. It was Sean Dyche against Arsenal. I think in 11 games there's been 13 goals in Sean Dyche teams against Arsenal. It was never ever going to be high scoring. That's not what he does. Okay, so we should have scored. So Arteta did his bit. He set the team up, and it created enough chances to win that game 1-0. Just 1-0. We got an XG of over 2. So surely he's legitimate in expecting his players to convert one of those chances.
It probably feeds into why he'd made 4 changes before the hour mark.
Yeah.
When he rarely does that kind of thing. So it was clear he was just kind of going, right,
Okay.
no, something different.
Chris, what do you think of those changes then? So at half time he brought Trossard on for Martinelli, and then Jesus and Saka came on for Gyökeres and Madueke, and
Eze came on later.
Eze came on later. Who was the other one? Oh, Marino for
Odegaard.
For Odegaard.
So, which I think reference to your point, Steph, about just changing it up is a nod to the fact that possibly Forest's plan was working, because we weren't making, Odegaard had a poor half, and I guess couldn't find those channels because they were defending so deep and just cutting out every lane, and there was just so little room. There was no way that he could get off, any of those little scoopy balls that he does over the top, or it just wasn't on for him. So we were resorting to the horseshoe, and so I guess his thinking was, okay, we go a little bit more direct and have Marino box crashing. And
wouldn't that be not starting with these players, but wouldn't it have been better than to see, because he hooked Zubimendi at some point. Forest weren't that much of a threat going the other way. Wouldn't it have been an opportunity to stick Eze on for Zubimendi and stick?
As you said earlier about you wouldn't have wanted to see them start like that, because obviously you don't want to go too gung ho. You don't want just one single pivot. You wanted the security of Rice and Zubimendi. So it was quite, I suppose, warranted that we took Zubimendi off and were trying to win the game a bit more and pushing on. Eze was fairly ineffective again, unfortunately. I think what they got us slinging crosses in, which was what frustrated me.
What minute did Eze come on? Like 85?
79.
79, right? Okay, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to have had hardly any minutes.
It smacks of despair. It smacks of a kind of like, last chance saloon, let's try something else. Go on, get on there, make something happen. I think by that time, Forest were already time wasting. It was clear where this was going, I think, from that point.
Couple of things. Just harking back to the team selection and a mixture of like Eze's use over the last few games as well. Someone did some stats on minutes played. Eze had his most productive calendar year last year. It's the most minutes he's played in games last calendar year, and he's a player that has been beset by injury a couple of times, and I don't make an excuse for that. Look, if he's fit and available, I don't know why he's not playing a bit more. I do want Arteta to maybe lean into the squad a bit more here and there, but at the same time, we have no idea what the medical staff are saying in the background, what the players are feeding back to the manager, and who's available for how long and how many minutes and this, that and the other. So as much as I might have liked to have seen MLS start yesterday, or The fact that Saka was maybe held back from the starting lineup, those might all be indicators that.
Well, he is carrying a little niggle apparently.
Exactly,
Saka.
Exactly. So that feeds into it. Eze's an interesting one because all of these things are true. On the one hand, he wasn't really given enough time in the game to establish too much for it to happen, because he doesn't strike me as a player that is that impact straight from the bench. But boy, did I think he was completely anonymous in the time that he's got on. And I say this because I referenced this at the time as it was happening in the stands. There was a point we were trying to recycle the ball out wide on the right. So Ben White and Saka were trying to link up and sort of make things happen. And Eze's in the middle of the box, waiting for a cross to come in. He's in the middle of the box. And he's not only in the middle of the box waiting for the cross to come in, he's behind a Nottingham Forest defender. And I'm screaming, going, go out and get the ball. Go out, demand the ball to feet, do something with it. I don't know what he was kind of expecting. I expected Marino to maybe take up that position, taller, a bit more of an aerial threat and all these sorts of things as well. I just felt there were little flashes and little moments like that where I was thinking, why aren't you getting the ball? It was like earlier in the game when Odegaard was in an almost free role, and he would find himself at fullback sort of position trying to play the quarterback role. And again, probably props to Nottingham Forest, who are shutting off all those normal areas and lanes he can normally pick up. So he's having to go a bit deeper to find it. And that's where Zubamendi would step forward. So you could see that the team were trying to work things out. But I don't know. Eze, for me, he's a high volume touch player. Go get on the ball. Be part of that link-up play between Saka and White to try and get it in. You standing in the middle of the penalty area, that's not going to be it.
Do you think that there's an element of when you're last knockings of a game and you're desperate, that you do tend to, like kids in a playground, they could sort of go swarming into the penalty area to try and get on the end of a ball. It's like percentage football basically, and that's what we resorted to. It was like cross. You've taken Vic off, who's your kind of supposedly your physical threat in the box, and you've got Jesus there and you're slinging crosses in. It smacks of despair a bit, of like, let's just try something, anything, and it just wasn't coming off. No. I know the other thing about Eze, I take your point, high touch player, but also likes to go past people, and I'm not seeing enough of that from him. And Waneri maybe would have been suited to this game as well, in that trying to just go past people, pull them out of position a bit, create a bit of that chaos. They were regimented, and it was almost too easy by that time.
Eze didn't particularly pull up any trees in the Portsmouth game either, did he?
No.
He didn't make himself undroppable for the next game against Portsmouth like Martinelli did. So maybe that feeds into... But he has played more minutes. I think he's played more minutes for us this season than he had for Palace this time last season, or something like that. So he has been getting his minutes, but... Right, okay.
And then pause for contemplation.
Yeah.
Shall I stick some music in there?
Can we focus on what are some of the positive aspects then? That bigger picture context.
Okay, so
should we do our
in terms
bullets?
of the game itself? Clean sheet, which is good. As a second in 7 games, clean sheet. We were really, really solid at the back. Ryan didn't have a save to make. That was really good. Tough away ground, and we just shut them out completely, which was good. That part of the game was brilliant. Compared, considering the soft goals, I say soft in inverted commas goals, we conceded at Chelsea, and these kind of soft goals were starting to creep into our games, and so we've kind of shut that down. Our last 2 league games, we've played Liverpool and Forest, and neither team have had a shot on target in the game, so that's a positive. The other glaring positive is that Man City lost, and we actually gained a point, and another game closer to the title. It's 16 games to go now, 22 games gone, and there's a couple of things. Steph, you sent it to the WhatsApp group, but I think you picked it up from Brody on the Patreon account. Someone split up the Premier League table into home and away, and we are sitting pretty at the top of the home league and the away league. Yep. We are the best team in the Premier League away from home. And I think he followed up with an explanation that people are suggesting that this is the worst Premier League quality-wise we've ever had. And he's actually suggesting that it's the opposite is true.
Yeah.
Look at how Wolves played at us. You know, that we were lucky to beat them 2-1. I mean, 2 own goals points to that, and a 90, whatever it was, 4th or 5th minute winner in that as well.
And people are talking about them as the worst Premier League team ever.
Ever, yeah. And they go to City next weekend, and City, who travel to the Arctic Circle midweek, that's not, you can imagine the tension in the stands if 20 minutes in it's 0-0, half time it's 0-0.
Yep.
We see pressure, and it's not easy when teams know they're so well coached and they know how to play against or thwart the opponent's strengths and attacks and so on. Then you never know. So, and so being top of both you sent it to the WhatsApp group, Stef, and my response was simply, well, if that continues for the next 16 games, there's only one outcome.
Yep.
So what? As you were, on we go. We're 7 points clear of City. Villa play this afternoon at home to Everton, and Villa have a nicer run of games as well, which is, interesting that they're still hanging around there, and Emery would love nothing more than to knock us into second place for a 4th year. Chris, what positives have you got?
Ooh. Well,
okay.
For me, it's the options from the bench, mostly obviously in attack, that they're all back now. And I suppose the slight dampener on that is that they're not quite fit and firing. But when they are, that coming into this kind of, not quite the home straight, but this crucial point of the season is going to be vital. So I'm looking upon that as a positive. Yeah,
we're 7 points clear. And at no point this season have we played well, like in consecutive games, not even in complete games. Like the Villa game was probably our most impressive performance stroke result, 4-1, but that was a second half performance, not a first half performance. What game have we beat? Leeds?
Spurs.
What was the score in the Spurs game? But Spurs are crap.
4-1. Yeah.
And again, but we haven't put together a sequence of results or performances where we've been playing well and we've played people off the park. So that's still to come, hopefully.
Well, you hope so. That's the thing, is you're thinking there's something's going to click and then we'll go on a run, and that's what we all want desperately. The negative to that would be, are we creaking through too many games, and is there a slight papering over the cracks thing going on where we're not quite what we think we are? I mean, this is purely speculative, but that's something that gnaws away at me occasionally, is that idea that when I look at where we have opportunities like we did yesterday and we're not making the most of them, we don't have that guy up front who's knocking them in as our kind of talisman striker. We're looking to everyone else to contribute, and if people aren't doing that, then we're stuffed.
I mean, we don't have a divine right to win any game of football.
No.
It's so City away. Forest away at the City grounds. I keep getting confused. It's a tough venue. It's a tough place to go. Steph? What was the atmosphere like with the home sport?
Yeah, good. I mean, as we sort of said in our preview, that it's an incredibly loud ground to go to. Good, intense local support. I found it interesting before the game because we ended up in this kind of fan park area that seemed to be attached to Notts County's ground, but was absolutely full of Nottingham Forest ground. And a few people I were with just going, could you imagine doing this at Spurs? If Arsenal were playing at home, going to some kind of fan zone at the Spurs ground and then going, but that's, I like Nottingham. It's a nice place. It is a city, but it doesn't feel massive and sprawling. It's got a town sort of vibe about it, and so that was good. Another funny moment was, again, on Soccer Saturday, coming in on the big screens in this fan park thing, and when West Ham took the lead against Spurs. No, I've got it. When Spurs equalised against West Ham, all the Forest fans, because obviously they wanted West Ham to drop points, they all cheered, and we couldn't help, as a little group of about 8 of us, just going, boo, and we were like, okay. But they were all fine. A few people just had a laugh with us. But yeah, they were good. I mean, that said, once the game had kicked off, their crowd was fairly quiet for a bit, as you could see the pattern of play open up. Their team were there to sit in and dig deep, and it's hard to get excited about that. But, a few incidences in the game, bit of time wasting here, time wasting there, from us as well. I got so annoyed at Ben White at one point in the first half when he took
throw-ins
for ages on a throw-in. The sooner this new throwing coach speeds them up and tells them what to bloody do on it,
well,
the better.
Can I say that the referees are meeting next week, and one of the items on the agenda is get better. Another item on the agenda is award Arsenal penalties. But the third item, which is the important one, is they're thinking. They do the 6-second count for the hands goal kick, doing the same for the off the ground goal kick and throw-ins as well.
Oh, good, yeah. Why not?
So anything that accelerate, because that'll put off a couple of the long throw teams, because the amount of time, and Forest themselves had a few long throws in, but they were taking as long as you take for a corner kick, because you get the centre backs go up and everything. It's like, but yeah, sorry, Steph, that was
no, it's all right. And then yeah, just as the game went on and their confidence grew, the crowd then got louder and louder as well. And similarly, the Arsenal end got quieter and quieter. It's the nature of football. The culture in this country is we react to what's going on the pitch much more than, say, they do in Europe, where it's much more orchestrated and raucous with their ultra culture.
Flares and things
were.
like
yeah, well, yeah, and the I don't know what they would call them, the capos, aren't they, that basically don't watch the game. They basically just orchestrate the crowd, which is fine. It's part of the 12th man, and that's their culture, but it's not ours. And it just grew in frustration for us, and they got more and more buoyant.
You could really hear the away fans coming through the TV screen. You could really hear it. They were quite loud, the away fans, which tells me that the home support wasn't quite as vociferous as it has been in the past, perhaps. One
thing that I've just been stewing over, because it's sort of annoying, but sort of not, because I feel like it's a self-own for, 18 of the teams that say this. But obviously the whole second again thing that people use to kind of banter us off, I think it's a self-own to anyone who finishes, third or below. Because if you say second again to us, it's like, well, yeah, you want to be where we are. But anyway.
There's only one better.
But this is like... The Forest fans were very quick to get onto that at the end of the game yesterday to sort of wind it into us, and I just think...
Second again, was we just gone 7 points clear?
Yeah, that, because people... This is the thing, and I'd wonder if there's a vibe going on, and a few people have mentioned this as a way to kind of dig at our team, but I do wonder, how much do our team want to win it as much as other teams and opposition want us to lose it? There's this weird vibe going on that everyone's so excited to see us fall short. And when you think about who we're going up against the behemoth that is the Saudi Arabian royal family, is it? Or the Abu Dhabi crown prince, who has untold spending power, have broken the rules more than they've followed them, that allegedly, from these kinds of points of view. That a team that they get one or two injuries, and what do? They spend 500 million quid on buying replacements that everyone goes, yeah, well, that's the replacement, but it's not like a world-class player. They can basically spaff 50 million on players that we would spend 6 months agonising over about how much they would improve us by what percentage and this, that and the other. And they just sort of fob it off. And you think about the players that have gone there and been chewed up by the system, whether it's Calvert-Phillips, who they got from Leeds and basically ruined Leeds from that point of view as well. They're taking Guehi from Palace, who seem to have fallen apart in the last 2 weeks completely. They've got arguably the best manager in the world at the moment. They've got the best striker in the world at the moment, and they're second to us, and they've not won in 4, is it? Or they've scored
four league games in a row.
4 league games in a row. They've not won, but everyone's on us.
Steph, as I've experienced personally, I've got an answer to your question. Well, we are the reason other fans want Arsenal to lose more than wanting anybody else to lose, because apparently we are insufferable as a fan base. That's
but even that thing, isn't it? And I must admit, AFTV do have a lot to answer for. We put a thing out, didn't we, recently? And the amount of people that were commenting going, yeah, well, AFTV lot. And then you just have to say to them, look beyond. You know, the Arsenal fan base is more than just, you know, those people. And even they've evolved and changed.
Yeah, they're not like they used to be.
No, they're not. Absolutely right. Because, you know, all right, they've got an established viewer base, presumably. And I think things have moved beyond just watching people lose their minds about these things. But people still do. People still do. Yesterday, on the minibus driving back from Nottingham, there were still one or two people on the bus who were watching the Tottenham guy lose his mind over the
expressions.
Fact that guy lost his mind over the fact that Spurs.
He's a brilliant linguist. I've got to hand it to him.
He likes a simile. I
don't know how much that's scripted, but it seems off the cuff.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know most of his cultural references, but being like ancient. But
I think also the media have a role to play in all this. It's not just fan driven, you know, the way they perpetuate certain things about us being, you know, oh, they've shirked it, they've bottled it. Liverpool, you don't hear that. They're the champions, the reigning champions. Where's the dialogue around that? Man City, like you said, all this wealth and they're chasing us, losing games, drawing games.
Spurs have spent
more than us in net.
More than us since 1st of January 2020, as of United.
Liverpool spent £150 million on a striker. And we spent half that, and less than half that.
And he's got twice as many goals.
Oh, it's just, yeah, anyway. This is why they do it, because it gets my blood pressure going. And there'll be people watching going, yeah, well, you've reacted now. You've bitten.
Okay. Man of the match, Steph.
I'd said I was going to be mischievous with these. I'm going to abstain.
It's not Lent yet. Easter's a long way off. You can't abstain.
That's bloody well can.
Okay. Chris.
Oh, David Raya.
He did nothing.
He did nothing. But
he got shot on target.
But because you asked me to say who I'm impressed by as well, I kind of feel like, well, no one in outfield did enough to be a man of the match.
So you've got him as well?
Basically, Sells was the man of the match, quite rightly, because he was more active. But Raya did nothing wrong, and he did, you know, what
he did do something wrong. He came racing out of goal, completely air-kicked it, and if the Forest player hadn't misstood or missed his step a little bit, he'd have had an open goal from 25 yards. I'm not digging out Raya at all. I love him, and obviously he was.
Yeah.
Oh, you two being so churlish. I thought Madueke was our man of the match. I thought he was the liveliest player in the first half, and end product could be a little bit better. He set up Zubimendi for what should have been a really good, clear-cut chance and a shot at goal, but for some reason Zubimendi decided to cross the bloody ball, especially having just scored a really good goal against Chelsea. Why did he do that? But anyway, so that was he was my man of the match. Steph, which Arsenal player impressed you other than your man of the match abstinence?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to talk about Marino's contribution off the bench because he just impresses me more and more. So good in close control, you know, under pressure, happy to receive the ball, very good at drawing fouls, dominant in the box going forward, had that chance with the header, which, you know, was so disappointed not to go in. But he didn't do anything wrong particularly, did he?
I didn't see it again, but Arsblog said in his blog this morning, he said that if Marino's header had been on target, Sells had it covered.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, either way. Again, his contribution is just more and more telling, and if a player's knocking on the door of pushing for a starting berth, he's probably the one.
Right, who does he start instead of?
Well, therein lies the problem, because you're not going to drop Zubimendi and Rice, and you need a... Well, there's a different question. And when we talk about Milan...
That's why I said Marino for Gyökeres. Would have been the obvious one if you put get Eze on for Ødegaard, but not Marino for Ødegaard. It didn't.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Marino.
Chris, who's your player that impressed the most? Have you said it already?
No. I have Saliba Gabriel just because of the shutouts, the fact that we didn't even concede a shot. So for me, I just want to shout out to them.
Okay, I went for Ben White. I thought Ben White was pretty good in the game. And again, fueled by my fear that he would break down with his third consecutive start. He cannot start on Tuesday in Milan. He just can't. We will break him if that was the case. Oh no, well, okay,
More on
Timber can play at right back and Lewis Skelly can play at left back. I mean, it depends on what Mosquera's injury was. It wasn't muscular, was it? It was the way he landed. It was something to do with the
ligament, wasn't it?
Ligament. So he could maybe, well, he certainly could come on for the last 20, 25 minutes in Milan, but he could start and Timber come on for the last 30 minutes, that way around. So there is a bit of movement possible with proper fullbacks, defensive fullbacks, not putting Norgard or Rice in at right back, for example. So I went Ben White. I thought he was really good. I thought he was energetic. I didn't think he quite out defensively, and I thought going forward again, his link-ups with Madueke, less so with Ødegaard, but that was down to Ødegaard. I think he took a long time with these throw-ins, sure. Okay, are we on to positive takeaway? Yeah, positive takeaway.
Well, we sort of mentioned that earlier. I don't know if you want to go over it again. I mentioned this I was pleased with the options that we have on the bench in attack. Okay. Just want them to be fit.
Steph?
Just gaining a point on City. Just one more point extra. That's all.
So I wrote that down and I wrote clean sheet.
Clean sheet, yeah.
Away from home in the Premier League, clean sheet. I mean, what was it? I read that stat of something like, is it 80% or 82% of games in which you keep a clean sheet, you'll win?
Mm. Is that the Pulis thing?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
God.
That'll help people not view us as
We're like a hipster Stoke.
Yeah. Negative takeaway. I mean, it's pretty obvious, Steph.
I've just put the attack.
Okay. Such as it was, or wasn't. Chris?
Or wasn't.
Yeah. Put teams away, please.
Yeah, mine was like just not taking advantage of City's defeat, not taking full advantage of City's defeat. That was mine. I've got one more point or observation about the league. Is there anything else you guys want to say about yesterday's game in particular?
Penalty shout?
Yeah, I was going to talk about Sean Dyche, the hypocrite.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean...
bound to.
His BT interview, it's the bit of self-awareness, isn't it? There will be reels and reels of clips of him bemoaning decisions that hasn't gone his way. So when one has, have the humility to say, yeah, I could see why that might be a penalty.
Yeah, but he wants to ingratiate himself with the officials so that they view him more kindly.
They got it right.
It's clever. See, the thing is, right?
No, but
okay.
All right. So can I just pick up on the fact that the way he couched it in this whole game's gone thing, that speaks to a certain breed of football fan, and we're not talking about the contact of the sport. We're talking about a player that handle the ball like it's. I don't see. So,
did you think? Have you seen it again, Steph?
Yeah, it's handball. It's penalty.
Did you think you thought it was a penalty? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've watched it again many times and I haven't changed my mind.
So, accidental handball isn't apparently a thing, and it hit your shoulder first. If it hits another part of your body and then hits your arm, it hit your shoulder. No, it hit your shoulder and went down onto his arm.
No.
And the other thing as well is the other defender behind him pushed his arm, and you could have argued that the movement of his arm was because his teammate nudged his arm in towards the ball. And I've seen Arsblog included say that it could have been given. Absolutely, it could have been given, but he'd be just as cross had it been given against us down the other end. So, and I must admit, I didn't see it at all. And I don't blame who was the referee?
Oliver.
Oliver.
It wasn't down to him at all because
No.
he was blindsided by. So it wasn't an anti-Oliver, anti-Arsenal thing.
No.
And if Oliver had awarded the penalty, VAR wouldn't have overturned it.
Mm.
And
Right.
if that's the case, then it's because he didn't award the penalty. Perhaps the right decision was there. I mean, when I saw the replay, I thought that's a penalty. They're going to give us a penalty, surely. I'd already moved on to who was going to miss it.
It's not Michael Oliver's decision. When it happened, none of us in the away end could see anything, and we were all as nonplussed and confused as everyone else. The shoulder to hand thing is for when it's that thing of a player goes to kick a ball, mishits it, and it kind of skims, and just happens to hit their hand. This was a thing where the ball was like bouncing. It bounced up off his shoulder. It was two completely separate movements. There was no sort of like skimming and then hitting his hand.
No, it came down. It came down on his shoulder and down.
I'm not having that. And then the thing with the player in his back with his hand, he's gained an advantage. The ball comes off his arm and then he gains an advantage because he's able to walk away with possession. It's penalty.
Well, it went out for a corner.
Well, fine, but
because he couldn't keep it in. His instinct was to keep the ball in. That's where if
to avoid the corner.
Right, to your point, if it's your player that does that and you're watching it and you see that replay, I'm just thinking,
idiot.
What are you doing?
Yes.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that? That reflex, that's unnecessary. Just get your arm away, use your leg. That's my instinct on watching it if that's my player. So I apply that to this and I think, all right, we've seen them given is the kind of thing we hear.
For sure.
The trope. So I don't want to lay it all on that, but sometimes you need those to go for you in a game like this.
I mean, think about the Inter game, because we're going to segue into that in a minute, but obviously think about the Inter game last year. In Europe, well, exactly, but the threshold is very different. But I'm not even considering like a European threshold. For me, it's that movement of the arm.
There is a stat... the Premier League are an outlier. We award the fewest by far across all the European major leagues of penalty handballs.
And I don't mind that. Generally, there are so many handball things that are given, and we had that one against Inter last year, where you just think, in the spirit of the game, that idea of the handball, and for me, it's always about those things of gaining an advantage. That player sought to try and gain an advantage by not giving away a corner. He wanted to keep it in so he could boot it away upfield, but instead it came off his arm in such a way that it's gone out for a corner because they're fearful of us from set pieces, and it was just a daft thing to do in that moment, and he absolutely shouldn't have done it. But there you go.
Okay,
that's not the reason why we couldn't finish the game off. We should have done better in attack.
Missed chance. And
my negative takeaway is our attack.
Yeah, not creating more chances. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. This time last year, so I'm hearing all about how this is the worst Premier League, and Arsenal are really. Would be really bad champions should we go on and win it, blah blah. Whereas Liverpool, I'm hearing this from really completely ignorant Liverpool fans, and who are saying they were great champions last season. This time last year, I don't know if you've seen this. This time last year, 22 games in, how many points have we got after 22 games?
I've got no
50.
idea.
We've got 50.
Okay.
Liverpool had 51.
Yeah.
Right? Who was in second place?
At that point, probably us.
We were.
All right.
How many points behind Liverpool were we?
8.
Take a wild guess.
5.
How many points ahead are we now?
We're 7 now.
And we were 7, and Liverpool were 7 points ahead of second place this time last year.
Right, okay.
So we're almost in an identical position to them, except they've got a faltering Arsenal behind them and we've got City behind us. Now, I'm saying this again before Villa have played today, so I don't know. It might be a 4-point lead over Villa, not to discount them. But there's Liverpool 1 point better off than us this time last year, and they walked the league. They coasted it. They were imperious. Make it make sense? No narrative, no agenda? Of course not.
No.
Okay, it is Manchester United next weekend, so we will talk about that on Wednesday, perhaps. Before then, we have to travel to Milan on Tuesday, 8 o'clock kickoff at the San Siro. Are they still in the San Siro?
Yeah,
into Milan?
This is their last season.
Okay, right. I was looking for, I have no idea what's going on in Serie A. Not a clue. I looked to the Serie A table this morning, hoping to get some comfort, but none was forthcoming. Inter are 6 points clear at the top of Serie A. Having said that, AC Milan have 1 game in hand behind them. They're the team in second place. Inter won at Udinese yesterday, winning 1-0. Lautaro Martinez scored. Their team started again with, they have a Akanji at the back, and Mkhitaryan started. They're an odd one because you can't, apart from Martinez, there's no standout world star that they've got in their lineup. It's obviously a very, very strong team. In the Champions League, they've dropped to, I think, 6th in the Champions League. They've lost their last 2 games, but listen to the last 2 games they've lost in the Champions League. Home to Liverpool, 88th minute Szoboszlai penalty. Yeah. Away at Atletico Madrid, an 88th minute winner that Atletico Madrid scored. They lost 2-1 away at Atletico Madrid. So they've narrowly lost those last 2 games. They're in 6th, so they're going to need to win to guarantee top 8. I mean, a draw wouldn't be a disaster. I don't know who their last game is. I did look at us. We're 3 points clear of Bayern Munich with a 4-goal advantage in terms of goal difference, I think, which I think's mad, because didn't Bayern Munich beat someone like 8-0 earlier on in the Champions League? I might have that bit wrong. I'm not sure. Maybe it's 4 goals. I don't know. Anyway, we've got a 3-point lead over Bayern Munich with 2 games left. I've looked at Bayern Munich's last 2 games, and they will get 6 points from their last 2 games. They're kind of low-level opposition in European terms. So we need
a draw,
1 win and a draw. We need 4 points from our last 2 games to guarantee first spot. We've probably guaranteed. I think we've already guaranteed top 8, but we're home to Karat the following week. So that's good. You've got to think that's a 3 points there. So a draw is enough on Tuesday to secure top spot with the idea that we win the final game. I mean, we could still finish top and not get 4 points, but whatever. So what does Arteta do? I mean, we desperately need to rest some players. Is Inter Milan away the game in which to do that? Will Arteta see it like that? Do we have the alternatives at our disposal to actually afford him the opportunity of resting players? So I don't know. Answer those questions. Steph, what do you think the lineup will be? Arteta, what do you think? What would you like it to be? What do you think it will be, perhaps? Maybe
I couldn't help myself, because the importance of the Man United game next week has now obviously been magnified, given the perception that yesterday was such a poor performance. I'm going to even correcting myself on it now. That I think and the great position that we're in the Champions League does lessen the importance of this Inter Milan away game. But the team, the individuals are really wanting to prove themselves. So I couldn't help myself but pick a team that I probably would go for, because I just want lots of changes and I want lots of players. Well, I want some protected from burnout, and then I want others to maybe pick up some minutes and improve their sharpness. I've got Raya in goal. I've got Timber, Norgard, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly. I've got a midfield 3 of Eze, Zubamendi and Marino. And then I've got a front 3 of Saka, Havertz and Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, you should put money on that.
I will put it now. That will not be the team.
So what's Arteta going with?
I think Arteta... Oh, go on then. I'll do Arteta. Arteta's going Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly. He's going Odegaard, Zubamendi, Rice. And he's going Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard. That's what he's doing.
It's exactly what I've got for his team.
Exactly.
For his team, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Chris, is that the team you've put down then?
Sorry, did you drop Rice in that lineup for Marino?
In Arteta's?
In Arteta's.
Oh, Rice is in.
Oh, Rice is in. Yeah, so I've got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, MLS, Zubi, Rice, Eze, Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard for my Arteta lineup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 2 players different to that, Chris. I've got Raya, I've got Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly. I've got Zubamendi, Rice and Eze instead of Odegaard. And then I've got Madueke starting again on the right, just to rest. Especially when I heard that Saka was carrying a little bit of a knock. And if we were 2 or 3-0 up against Forest, Saka wouldn't have come on the pitch at all. So I think, right, rest him there. And I've got Trossard on the left and I've got Jesus through the middle. I think this is the opportunity for Jesus to start and be told, right, you do well here. I know he started against Portsmouth, didn't he? But he didn't score, did he? Martinelli got a hat-trick and it was an own goal. So I'd say it's another opportunity for Jesus. And I just think his link-up play would help us with a bit more control in the game. Whereas Gyökeres, that's not his game. I mean, there isn't an argument to ask what is his game. But anyway, we have defended him here, Gyökeres, and I was really hoping that after his goal and assist against Chelsea, he'd put in an improved performance against Forest. He did not. But
he's also not the only one of our attack. Saka, I will defend Saka to the end of time, but at the same time, he's having a bit of a lean spell. So, as a lot of our attackers are.
We've got a non-goal scoring attack.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
The chance he had, by the way, just going back quickly to the Forest game, in case people didn't hear the pod yesterday, I don't think you can put too much on him for that. I know he got away initially from Murillo, but the bounce wasn't kind to him, and that he couldn't run onto it. It was never 100% in control, like you referenced. If that was Henry, well, if that was Henry with any situation, I'm sure we're looking at a different outcome. But yeah, I just feel like in isolation, that wasn't. I don't put that down on his doorstep completely. Murillo did brilliantly to get back.
Holly, you seemed quite intent on working Jesus into the team, but where do you see Havertz and his place? Because
Havertz hasn't had enough minutes under his belt to start a game. I'd have Havertz there first, of course. If you're telling me we've got our three strikers, Jesus, Gyökeres and Havertz, all fit, Havertz starts every game.
I really want to see Havertz against United next week, but he's not going to.
Yeah, so he'll come on. He needs to play, but for that to happen, he needs to come on 60 minutes for Jesus, which is fine.
Arguably, he should have come on yesterday.
Yeah. Once Marino came on, though, that kind of covered the centre forward bit there. And again, we don't know if Havertz picked up a little knock against a bit of fatigue against Chelsea. He played 30 minutes. But no, absolutely, Havertz would be starting against United if he plays 30 minutes in the San Siro. United will have 8 days rest for that, and Carrick's obviously a genius and the greatest coach and manager that's ever lived, and put him behind the wheel now, Rio. Give it to him, absolutely.
United are going to have 8 days rest between every game.
Yeah. Steph, score.
1-0 Inter.
Chris.
First defeat I've predicted in a long time.
Blimey. I've got 1-1.
I've also got 1-1. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see a narrow defeat there. I just wonder if Arteta will. I mean, I named my team. I want Norgard playing. I want Marino starting. I don't want the team I suggested he would play. That's not the team I want to play. I don't care about this game. Couldn't care less about it.
I'll care about it. I still want us to be competitive. The worst thing to do, because again, even though you can spin a draw as being a positive, look at Declan Rice's reaction yesterday when even the worst lip reader in the world could see that he was very hacked off, shall we say. So they'll know that they will have wanted to take advantage of that. And so many people will read that as disappointment, and should Inter basically re-establish themselves by having a 2 or 3-0 win that actually looks a bit more comfortable than we would like it to, that could certainly spark a feeling amongst the group and the fan base especially that it's a bit of a wobble.
Well, it's the best game to have after any perceived wobble is Man United at home, because there'll be that the fans will be fired up for that game. You may make no mistake about that. However, the last time we've lost 2 games all season in all competitions. That's 34 games.
Yeah, it's mad.
We've lost 2 out of 34 games.
It just shows you how high Rice's bar is. He sets incredibly high standards for himself and the team. I don't think there was any sort of malice in that. It's just pure frustration that came out.
No.
And he won't be the only one.
No. And you don't mind that, how often?
Good.
Think about the sort of banter era, the late Wenger era of players who didn't look like they were arsed.
No ownership over it, no culpability.
Yeah, and then you had the likes of You know, I always think back about Alexis Sanchez, you know, throwing his gloves on the ground away at Bournemouth because the rest of the team were more interested in celebrating a goal to equalise rather than thinking, right, we've still got time, let's go get a bloody winner. So, absolutely.
God, could we put prime Alexis Sanchez into this team, please?
Oh, my days, please. If that kind of player exists, I think a lot of people in their heads have probably thought that's what Eze was going to be when he came, and he's not.
But he's not that Eze's not that explosive player.
No, exactly.
Oh, one more thing. Where is it? I go back to the. Where is it? Was it Mark? Yeah. How can we have a squad this good and still feel like something's missing? January, we're midway through. Should we do anything in the transfer window? Should we? Will we? Semenyo would have been great because, you know,
I think this is much to do with injuries and form in that we haven't seen it all kind of conflate and work in our favour yet. And I think that's probably what Arteta is thinking, and the guys who hold the purse strings is, well, let's wait and see. When it all comes together, then we'll hit the ground and then it will work and gel, rather than just go out, as you said, Steph, and just go, yeah, we'll just spaff another $500 million on a few players and pay them loads so they don't complain when they're on the bench.
What's the name of the guy who does the accounts, that does all the club's accounts?
Swiss Ramble.
It's not him. There's another one. There's another guy who does. He has a little bit heavy focus on Arsenal as well as Swiss Ramble. I don't think it's Swiss Ramble. I know he does. But apparently PSR, we've got 100. If we could spend £100 million in January and be absolutely fine in terms of PSR.
Well,
so we've got the money.
But it goes against our ethos, you know. Like we're always complaining about how Chelsea operate with that.
I don't know. We spent a fair whack in the summer.
Yes, but it's not the amount we spent in the summer. It's the way that the squad has been assembled.
Okay.
It's not to do with the money so much.
Is there no weak area in our squad at the moment?
Yeah, the finishing.
No. So, weak position. I mean, for me, the big one is the left side.
Yes. But,
and Gyökeres.
What are the club thinking? The club are thinking, when these players hit form, we're good. So do we need to go out and buy more? We're leaning into that idea that they're going to get better and improve.
Especially given we've been having conversations about pecking order for the likes of Waneri, Lewis Skelly, Max Dowman when he's back. Yeah,
that pathways. You're right, Steph.
You've got to take a bigger picture view as well. Although saying that, we sort of look back at particularly maybe last season when the opportunity was to get Watkins or someone like that.
Yeah.
But our injuries that set us back happened at the end of the January transfer window. City's has happened just before, so they can go, right, well, then we definitely need Semenyo and Mark Guehi.
Well, what happens when Diaz comes back and Guardiola and all the rest of them that are queuing up Ake for the centre-half roles at City? It's a tough one to juggle, and we always say, it's like spinning plates, keeping players happy.
Okay, so City have decided that winning now is more important than winning next season.
I bet they have. There's probably 115 reasons why.
But we did that in the summer. And I don't think we signed a dud player. I mean, in terms of all our new signers, Gyökeres is the one that's disappointing more than any of the others. But he's still got his supporters, and I just wanted him to kick on. I thought the Chelsea game was his watershed moment, and I wanted him to, if he'd got another goal yesterday, if he'd got the winner, the only goal of the game yesterday, all of a sudden we're talking about a very different player and a very different signing.
So a bit like Haaland's having a bit of a lean spell for him. What is it? 1 penalty goal in 6, did you say?
7, yeah.
7. Proper true number 9s like that are only as good as the team that are functioning behind them. They're not a make a goal out of nothing like an Alexis Sanchez was, or even a Semenyo could be to a certain extent. So it's hardly surprising that we have a bit of a meh game against Forest and Gyökeres has like 1/2 chance.
That team that's struggling to create chances for Haaland scored 10 against Exeter.
Exeter.
Come
on. Who's being mischievous now? I was going to be the mischievous one.
Clutching.
Anyway, right. Okay. You go into the game, Steph.
Inter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Of course I'm bloody not. I wish I was. I've never been to the San Siro, and it, never will have the chance now as they're going to redevelop.
So we'll do an instant reaction straight after the San Siro performance, and probably then on Wednesday we'll do a more in-depth one looking ahead at United the weekend. My favourite fixture of the season. A buoyant United as well. Yay! Anyway, 16 games to go, 7 points clear as I speak. It's still rosy. Come on, you Gooners. Cheerio.
Bye.
See ya.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.